number 4. It asks, are black restaurants too expensive? Hey, let's get into it. Let's go. Yes, we're asking Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. Are black restaurants too expensive? Guys, you've probably been wondering, hey, even with this current administration in the United States, yeah, sure, life is expensive, but are black restaurants, regardless of the administration, are they too expensive? This is a question that has been puzzling some of us. And this week, it has reached. It has, guys, just know that, how can I explain this? This week, I've seen more and more social media, what do you guys call it? Social media, what is it called when somebody, just social media rants, social media deep dives about black restaurants, whether African, Black American. I know, Anthony, I know you don't like the word Black American, but just for context's sake, soul food restaurants, let's just say soul food restaurants. African restaurants, whether Ethiopian, Nigerian, Somali, Kenyan. We always ask, and also let me not leave out the Caribbean restaurants, Trini restaurants, Jamaican restaurants, Haitian restaurants. Are they too expensive? Are they too expensive, Omera? What's not happening? So not only do we have one, we have 2 videos. Yes, I have 2 videos for you guys. First one, we go to Instagram, where a Cameroonian man presents the question to us, are black restaurants too expensive? And this, in his case, he's talking about African restaurants. And then our second video, yes, we got a second video. It takes us to TikTok, where an African-American, Black American, asks the same thing about soul food restaurants. Believe it or not. Yes. So go ahead and sit tight. These 2 videos are going to take some time, but nonetheless, they present the matter to you. Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. Are black restaurants too expensive? I'm Jack Cadeno, proudly filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze episode 253 on the Better Medicine podcast. Let's go ahead and go to Instagram for our first video and deep dive about black restaurants and the expense. And are you paying for it? Huh? Let's take a listen.
Food in the US is so expensive. That's the reason you don't see too many. African food in the US is so expensive. That's the reason you don't see too many Americans in African restaurants. But when you go to Asian or Chinese restaurants, you see Americans lined up like beads on a string. Africans, we don't have gold in our food. Jollof rice is basically rice, tomatoes, and oil, and small ingredients. That's it. All of these things were bought in the US for no money. But the way you guys skyrocket the prices, I'm not talking about high-end or upscale restaurants. If I go to Continent DC, I know that's an upscale restaurant because they serve you food, they serve you, they even put water in your cup. But some of you African, you sell a bottle of water for $2, $1.50 for a small bottle of water. Look at food for $29. If you go to American soul food restaurant with $29, you know what you're going to buy? Have you seen their platters? If you go to Asian restaurant, Saku, Japan, if you buy food for $15, you won't be able to finish it. If you go to Chinese restaurants with $13, if American restaurants, their prices are usually 15, 17, 18, 19, 20. Africans, I wanted to eat roasted tilapia. They said it's $45 with no plantain, with plantain $50. $50 for roasted tilapia. That tilapia is $5. I'm not exaggerating. That tilapia is $5 at the grocery store. But they are selling it for $50. Africans, we have to, and understand all of us are coming to look. Some of you even sell hot sauce. The American restaurant will give you free hot sauce. In some cases, they even give you free water. Chill. That's the reason why Americans don't patronize us all the time. Because our food is so expensive. When they go to Chick-fil-A, when they go to Popeyes, Chipotle, they don't spend more than $15 there. And they eat well. We don't have gold in our food. You guys should chill. Chill. If you see the way Americans serve their chicken and their turkey, wow. If you go to African restaurant, pinch, stingy with portion, only price. Please chill. African food in the US is so expensive. That's the reason you don't see too many Americans in African restaurants. But when you go to Asian or Chinese restaurants, you see Americans lined up like beads on a string. Africans, we don't have gold in our food. Jollof rice is basically rice, tomatoes, and oil, and small ingredients. That's it. All of these things were bought in the US for no money. But the way you guys skyrocket the prices, I'm not talking about high-end or upscale restaurants. If I go to Continent DC, I know that's an upscale restaurant because they serve you food, they serve you, they even put water in your cup. But some of you African, you sell a bottle of water for $2, $1.50 for a small bottle of water. Look at food for $29. If you go to American soul food restaurant with $29, you know what you're going to buy? Have you seen their platters? If you go to Asian restaurant, Saku, Japan, if you buy food for $15, you won't be able to finish it. If you go to Chinese restaurants with $13, if American restaurants, their prices are usually 15, 17, 18, 19, 20. Africans, I wanted to eat roasted tilapia. They said it's $45 with no plantains, with plantain $50. $50 for roasted tilapia. That tilapia is $5. I'm not exaggerating. That tilapia is $5 at the grocery store. But they are selling it for $50. Africans, we have to, and understand all of us are coming to look. Some of you even sell hot sauce. The American restaurant will give you free hot sauce. In some cases, they even give you free water. Chill. That's the reason why Americans don't patronize us all the time. Because our food is so expensive. When they go to Chick-fil-A, when they go to Popeyes, Chipotle, they don't spend more than $15 there. And they eat well. We don't have gold in our food. You guys should chill. Chill. If you see the way Americans serve their chicken and their turkey, wah, wah, wah. If you go to African restaurant, pinch, stingy with portion, only price. Please chill. African food in the US.
Yeah, homie said, wah, man. And he used the hell out of that paper towel. That's how I know homie has money. Because that was a lot of paper towel just to wipe your mouth, man. I am Jack Cadetto, proudly filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze episode 253 on the Bitter Medicine podcast. Hit the like button. Take your finger, move the mouse, or if you have touch screen, hit the like button. Just hit the thumbs up. Okay? All right? Good? That's yeah. Don't be stingy like some African restaurants, huh? You like that? Yes. Shoot the Breeze topic number 4 asks, are black restaurants too expensive? That first video, that's one of two. We have a second video for you. We go to TikTok where African-American, Black American. Yes, Anthony, I understand. I get it. Just for context, Anthony, come on. Rock with me. He asked the question about soul food restaurants. If you're in the United States, you're pretty familiar. Soul food restaurants are in the name. It's soul food, huh? And let's go ahead and hear what this individual has to say as well. If I can get this, stand by, guys. I'm trying to think. How do I do this? This video is brought to us from TikTok, so give me a moment, guys. I might share my entire screen. I'm going to share my entire screen. How about that? All right. Let's, can I do that? You guys let me know if you guys can. I can't even do that. Stand by, guys. Okay. Stand by, guys. Okay, in the chat, let's go to the chat while I try to figure this out on how we can go to tip. You know what? I might be able to do it a different way. All right. In the chat, Culture says, let's start from the beginning. Afro-Colombian restaurant in Houston was kind of expensive for real. There's an Afro-Colombian restaurant in Houston? You let me know. You let me know. I did not know that. Afro-Colombian, you say, huh? All right. And Culture also adds, depends on the area too. Like Jamaican restaurants in the DMV are more expensive than South Florida. Ethiopian restaurants in the DMV have a decent price. I've actually not heard anybody complain about the pricing in the DMV as far as African or Ethiopian restaurants. So that's good that I'm getting confirmation from somebody that has visited. So you've been to the DMV and you've been to Houston. Culture, you got some money, huh? Bro, stop being greedy. Let me get $1. Let me get $1. What's wrong with you, man? Huh? Stop being greedy, man. We need money here. I need to afford my African restaurants. Brother Bakari says, he ain't lying about the price. That's why I stopped going to a couple of them. Sheesh. I used to go to one African restaurant, $20 just for jollof rice. The rice with suya was about $35. Hey, yo, for real? They're going to have to do me a favor. Huh? Brother Bakari, that restaurant is going to have to do me a favor.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
And Culture says, yes, they're an Afro-Colombian restaurant in Houston. They from the Pacific Coast. Culture, where exactly is this restaurant? I'm familiar with Greens Point. I know. North Houston, I know. I'm also familiar with South Gessner. Where exactly was that restaurant at? And if you want to provide us the name, I mean, they're Afro-Colombian, even though they might be expensive. I'd like to know. That sounds bomb. I don't think I've ever had Colombian food regardless. So the fact that there's an Afro-Colombian restaurant kind of makes me upset. What am I doing with my life? Like what exactly is going on? Why don't I have this in my life? What's going on, huh? All right. I think I figured it out, guys. Let's go ahead and go to TikTok. If I can get back to the screen. Yes. Let's go to TikTok. Okay, yes. Let's go to TikTok, where a Black American, African American brother is talking about soul food restaurants and their pricing. Huh? Again, this is a conversation that has sprung up this week, literally inspired by the first gentleman that you guys had seen on your screen. This is the second gentleman, huh? Yes, we got this working. Let's take a listen.
We do not hate African restaurants. We just want you guys to remember that you are pricing your way out of the market. Instead of asking them, how much should I charge them? Ask yourself, how much should I charge this client so they can come back 3 times, 4 times, or even 5 times in a week? Instead of charging $14 for a plate of rice with 2 chicken drumsticks, you charge $30. And the customer comes once in 3 months.
And I have this same problem with Black-owned restaurants. Just about any soul food spot I've ever been to. There is no way you should be charging $20, sometimes even $30 for 3 whole chicken wings, a side, and some cornbread. There are places charging $20 to $30 for some catfish. And don't let me talk about the sides alone, $6, $7, $8 for just a side. And let me break this down for you. Sam's got 40 pounds of chicken wings for $109. That is no less than 160 wings per case. And that is on the low end. That means you're not paying more than 70 cents a wing. I go to some places now, 3 whole chicken wings, a side, and some cornbread, $20, $30. It costs you $2 for those 3 whole chicken wings and probably another $2 to make the side. Y'all using the dollar seasonings at Walmart to season everything, so maybe another $1 to season everything on the plate. It costs you $5 to make that plate, and I'm overestimating all these prices. You double that and sell it for $10, $11, $12, $13, maybe even $14, $15. You not only covered the cost for the ingredients, but you also made $5 to $10 worth of profit. Let's just say you sell this plate for $12 and I come to your restaurant twice a week for lunch, because that's a reasonable amount of money to spend on lunch. That's $96 for the month, cost you $40 for the ingredients, so you profited $56 off just me alone for the month. But the problem is you selling this plate $25, $30. I might go to your restaurant once a month, if not once every 2 months. So for the month, you might profit $20 $20 from me might versus that same profit guaranteed in a week if you just lower your prices. I had a guy that sold barbecue. He used to get a half rack of ribs, 2 sides of the drink, $14. And he was filling those plates. I mean, you was probably getting 75% of the rib by the time he finished everything. Me and my homie used to go to this guy no less than twice a week, and it probably cost him $7 to make a plate. This guy was profiting $56 a week just off me and my homie alone. So before y'all sit here and tell me it doesn't work, it will, and it absolutely works. But y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
We do not hate African restaurants. We just want you guys to remember that you are pricing your way out of the market. Instead of asking them, how much should I charge them? Ask yourself, how much should I charge this client so they can come back 3 times, 4 times, or even 5 times in a week? Instead of charging $14 for a plate of rice with 2 chicken drumsticks, you charge $30. And the customer comes once in 3 months.
And I have this same problem with Black-owned restaurants. Just about any soul food spot I've ever been to. There is no way you should be charging $20, sometimes even $30 for 3 whole chicken wings, a side, and some cornbread. There are places charging $20 to $30 for some catfish. And don't let me talk about the sides alone, $6, $7, $8 for just a side. And let me break this down for you. Sam's got 40 pounds of chicken wings for $109. That is no less than 160 wings per case. And that is on the low end. That means you're not paying more than 70 cents a wing. I go to some places now, 3 whole chicken wings, a side, and some cornbread, $20, $30. It costs you $2 for those 3 whole chicken wings and probably another $2 to make the side. Y'all using the dollar seasonings at Walmart to season everything, so maybe another $1 to season everything on the plate. It costs you $5 to make that plate, and I'm overestimating all these prices. You double that and sell it for $10, $11, $12, $13, maybe even $14, $15. You not only covered the cost for the ingredients, but you also made $5 to $10 worth of profit. Let's just say you sell this plate for $12 and I come to your restaurant twice a week for lunch because that's a reasonable amount of money to spend on lunch. That's $96 for the month, cost you $40 for the ingredients, so you profited $56 off just me alone for the month. But the problem is you selling this plate $25, $30. I might go to your restaurant once a month, if not once every 2 months. So for the month, you might profit $20 from me, might, versus that same profit guaranteed in a week if you just lower your prices. I had a guy that sold barbecue. He used to get a half rack of ribs, 2 sides of the drink, $14. And he was filling those plates. I mean, you was probably getting 75% of the rib by the time he finished everything. Me and my homie used to go to this guy no less than twice a week, and it probably cost him $7 to make a plate. This guy was profiting $56 a week just off me and my homie alone. So before y'all sit here and tell me it doesn't work, it will, and it absolutely works. But y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
We do not hate African restaurants.
Woo! Man, hey, I said it. I said we had 2 videos. I didn't understand on how heavy they would be. I mean, it's one thing to watch them on your phone. It's another thing hear from a speaker and then also just catch the magnitude of the conversation. I'm out of breath just because I was trying to figure out on how I can eat while that was going on. But nonetheless, I wasn't able to eat. It's okay. It's all right. We asked the question on Shoot the Breeze topic number 4, are Black restaurants too expensive? What you had was 2 videos, one from Instagram, one from TikTok, an African content creator and an African-American content creator talking about African restaurants, soul food restaurants, and Jamaican and Caribbean restaurants. And does the price match exactly on what you're getting as far as a plate, service, and just overall quality? I'm Jacadero, proudly filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze episode 253 on the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Hit the like button in case you have not already. Again, we asked the question, are Black restaurants too expensive? You heard it from both of those content creators. Let's go ahead and get into the comments, because before we get into our panel, yes, we finally have a panelist. Finally. I was wondering, like, hey, what's going on? You guys don't want to mess with me today, huh? It's okay. Brother Bakari says, we don't know how to charge. In a lot of places, we are way too expensive. I still support because we're Black. I tell them about their prices personally. I never try to embarrass them. Do you feel that? Well, maybe you can elaborate more on that. Tragappy says, that meme and soundbite will never be funny. Which meme was that? I'm not sure. You let me know, Trigger. Brother Bakari says Jamaican restaurants oxtail with rice and peas is about $35 to $40. You ain't lying. Brother Bakari, there's a Caribbean restaurant here in Omaha. Oxtail, jerk, goat curry, easily $28. Easily. And the fact that saltfish and ackee is like a $21 plate, I'm like, there's no way, because it's not even a lot of saltfish. You know, the best thing that's out of that plate is usually, for me at least, is the saltfish. Bakari, just like what you're saying, it doesn't even make any sense to me. Yeah. Brother Bakari also adds a lot of soul food restaurants are really expensive too. Adds sometimes we are put in a bad position for high prices. Imagine, just like this Cameroonian brother right on the screen right now. He says, you can get us to come more frequently if the prices really reflected what's going on. Culture Education says, bro, Bakari, yeah, oxtail are too expensive. Culture also adds, there was some good vegan Ghanaian food. There's vegan Ghanaian food? That's awesome. At the Black Vegan or Vegetarian Fest in Brooklyn. It was worth the price. And then Trigger Happy said it will forever be funny. I'm sorry, Trigger. Maybe because I was probably when I was trying to see if I could sneak some food in, because this whole prompt was getting me hungry. Nonetheless, we got a panelist, guys. Huh? We got a panelist. Let's go ahead and welcome Shoot the Breeze episode 253, Brother Bakari. Brother Bakari, welcome. How are you tonight?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, my guy.
Okay, what I want to say first, peace to you, my brother. Peace to the chat. You're doing an excellent job.
Peace.
Been in and out, so I wanted to speak on this, and I decided to stay in a little longer. They're correct about the prices. When I said we're put in a bad position for pricing, there's things that we don't know. Even when the guy was breaking down, he said you can go to Sam Club and get this bag and you're paying like 70 cents a wing. So what do you think if somebody pays 70 cents a wing, they're going to sell it for $1 to make a 30-cent profit? You won't stay in business, right? So if they pay 70 cents a wing, they're going to sell that wing. They're gonna sell that wing for $1.50. That's just a fact. $1.50 to $2 because they want to make some money, right? Might sell it for $2.50. But anyway, when I say they're put in a bad position, I used to deliver drive. I worked at this company called Soulful Foods. And what we have to understand, I'm telling you, I never delivered to a Black restaurant that had an account. Each one we ever delivered to, they had to pay cash right then and there. It was always COD. When you deliver to the white-owned businesses, they have accounts $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. I even seen some with $100,000. So they have time to pay on their account. So when we're coming out of our pocket to pay for everything up front, it's a difference. It's completely different when you're running a business. This is why I said I would never get on and try to embarrass anyone for their pricing. I would talk to them about it, but I have an understanding because I've been involved in the industry. When you can go and these people are getting, okay, I'm gonna name a restaurant we used to deliver to. There was a Nancy's Pizza. Like it was like 5 or 6 of them here. Like 3 of them was Black owned. The other ones were not. All of the Black owned Nancy Pizza was COD. I know because when I delivered, we could pick up the check. The other one was not. So that have something to do with the pricing as well, because they are trying to recover their money right then and there to keep the business going. When he's saying, oh, they made $56 off me for the week. But what about the people they have working there? You understand? So for me, I don't ever hear this same smoke from Black folk when it comes to other restaurants that they frequent and spend their money. Now, rice, there's no need for no Jollof rice. A plate of Jollof rice to be $20 plus, just rice. That's insane. That's insane. But even with, like when I mentioned the price of the oxtails, go look at the price of the oxtails in the store. Now, if you're having to go to the store and buy them, and you are paying everything cash out of your pocket as soon as you get it, lots of the time you can't afford to lower your prices because you want to recoup your money now. So you want to be able to buy more of the stuff that you're selling that's doing good. So can we say sometimes our prices are too high? Yes. Like I had one guy, he had a restaurant. I asked him, like, dude, I used to frequent, like, dude, why you constantly going up? My food good, man. Just because your food good, that don't mean, you should be doubling your price for no reason just because it's good. Then 3 years later, you out of business. Well, I raised my price because I want a certain type of clientele. Well, I want everybody money. So, like I said, we don't know how to price. We don't check the market in its business. And if you ever owned a business and you've been in type the service industry in any way, shape, or form, you have to check the pricing of what people like. I owned a pressure washing company, pretty good pressure washing company. But what I did was I checked prices from other pressure washing companies. I checked the prices of my competition before I just go and say, you know what, I'm doing this. This is what I feel is worth. So what I did was I said, this is how much chemical I'm going to use to clean this house. This is how long it's going to take me to clean this house. So if I go in and I say, and I charge someone, let's say $150, right? I know how much chemical I'm going to use. I know how much gas I'm going to use. I know how long it's going to take me to do it. So if I charge you $150 to pressure wash your house, I made sure I'm making about $100 an hour. $150, it took me like an hour and a half, right? So $100 for that first hour, 50. That's what it would turn out to be. Because I do have to go back, then I have to think, okay, so I use this much chemical. So out of that $150, I'm probably spending $20 on chemical. Again, next time, if you can't buy in bulk, right? So you have to be able to buy in bulk. And that's what I mean when I'm saying they are not getting, people are not giving them credit. When our people say they're not getting credit, it's not just for a house or to be in red line. It's not just that. It's also especially in the food industry. I was in the industry where I was delivering fertilizer to golf courses and stuff. And anybody in the Atlanta area, you will see there's a driving range on Cascade, a Black-owned driving range. I think he had, what was it? He had $5,500 credit. That's all he could get. I made delivery to certain golf courses, man. I know for a fact, because I saw the prices of the thing, we could see the prices. I know for a fact there's one delivery. I have delivered these people $550,000 worth of stuff, and they don't have to make a payment. So it's different the way we're treated in the industry. And it's because part of that, we haven't gotten ourselves together. We don't have distribution centers. We are the farmers and everything that Black folks, I say we should be working with. We don't have those things together. So we can't give our people discounts. So then we are dependent on this damn beast to do something for you, to try and make things right. So the same people that have treated you bad are the same ones that we're dependent on, hoping they give us credit, because we haven't put our money together and done that yet. So yes, we can talk about the pricing. And even when I talked about the pricing, I also want us to I'm trying to give an understanding of why. But they could probably still come down a little bit, right? But there's no need. I'm not on here trying to embarrass black people. If we want to frequent these places, you go to Habib, you never say nothing about how high his stuff is in that damn corner store. You never talk about our pool prices. You only talk about black folk prices. And that is something we need to look at. Like, wow, they doing our businesses like this. Maybe we needed more of an education, because we've had this conversation several times. And I've tried to explain it several times. But I also said, and this was a while back, my brother Koku, because we was talking one time and he was like, yeah, man, we should do this, and this, talk about the pricing. Why can't we get a $5 or $10 plate for lunch, $7? And I showed him, I said, you know what? I mentioned this to, there's a Jamaican restaurant here called Garvey's. She's a distant relative of Marcus Garvey. So her restaurant is called Garvey's. So when I told her about that, I said, me and my friends was talking like, why don't y'all do a lunch special so it can be cheaper, so our people can come here and stop going. And I showed him the plate and he was like, wow. So what they did was what was it? My stewed chicken. Because I like the brown stew. When I ain't making my own, I buy it. So the brown stew chicken, the curry chicken, you could get that lunch special. You end up by 2 pieces of chicken, some rice, some plantain. And it was like, I think it was $8. But sometimes, that's what I'm saying that to say, sometimes if we talk to our people, we would see a difference in the thing that our people do, instead of always getting on here saying, I'm going to show them, I'm going to prove to them, and I'm going to embarrass them. And I yield the mic and let you go before I step down.
I appreciate it, Brother Bakari, and thanks a lot. I know that our weekends can be pretty busy. Me myself, I was at a. We'll talk. Well, I guess you guys will hear where I was at earlier today, so I totally understand. So thank you. Don't ever think that you're not appreciated. Time is very valuable, so I appreciate you taking the time. It's a layered conversation. Again, we're asking here on Shoot the Breeze, episode 253, are black restaurants too expensive? We had 2 videos, one from Instagram, one from TikTok. The Instagram video was a Cameroonian content creator saying African restaurants are typically too expensive and for nothing. He feels that the meat, the rice, and whatever dishes they are small in comparison as far as the price versus other restaurants. Like, for instance, he mentioned Asian restaurants. You won't be able to sometimes close the bag for whatever rice dishes that there are. But with African restaurants, the rice plates are, upwards of $40, $50. And not only can you close it, you'll be finishing that rice plate really quick. I only laugh because now I'm thinking back to some of the experiences that I've had, and I'm like, man, I paid a lot for this plate, and I don't feel like it was $40. So, Brother Bakari, I kind of feel you on this. In the chat, Trigger Happy says, maybe Brother Bakari, if he has the opportunity and the time, says, I was gonna say that they charge because of the product line. Do any of you think that maybe they do it because of the lack of customers coming in? This is really interesting. I was actually also going to, open up the floor, because it's just me and Bakari for right now, if Bakari's still around, that if this is a restaurant that has a full staff, maybe they're not saying that this is the price of food, but this is also, these prices are high because I need to pay my staff. I'm not a restaurant owner, and I can only imagine on, what they go through. Is there a happy medium, though? Brother Bakari, I asked this to you, maybe even just the channel, just the chat itself. Is there a happy medium? Can we get to a point where restaurant owners, African, soul food, Caribbean, can we get to a point where the plates, the dishes, the entrees, and the price meet in the middle? Because again, these 2 brothers said it themselves, hey, I frequent these other establishments weekly, multiple times a week, and it'd be more that I'd frequent. I would love to support my Black brothers and sisters multiple times a week, but at these prices, I can't do that. The white I assume they're talking about white Americans. They will go to other establishments, Asian restaurants, Latino, Hispanic restaurants, and they'll spend, $15, $17 at most for those plates, but it's well worth it. So they're back multiple times a week. Brother Bakar, do you feel like we can get to that point?
Yes, I believe we can come to a happy medium, but I don't think we'll come to the happy medium by embarrassing. I really think if we frequent these places, we should talk to the people who we giving our money to. And then if these people don't want to talk to you and don't want to come to a happy medium, then they have to feel the pain from the people that is supporting them, right? But yes, we should be allowed. We should sit down and talk, and we should come to a happy medium. I saw Koku put in the chat say, "Yeah, rent is a problem." Yes, that is a problem. And funding is a problem. We can't always get the loans, right? But I'm gonna say it like this, right? It's a place here. We go, and me and my lady go, look, I'm gonna just say it like this, it's not Black owned. French toast, 2 slices of French toast, 2 scrambled eggs, and some home fried potato is $22. I was like, what the hell? I didn't know. It was high. But I'm like, I bet you ain't gonna see nobody get online and try and embarrass them. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's expensive. 2 pieces of bread, you dip it in egg. That's how all the French toast is. Eggs with milk, cinnamon, sugar, nutmeg. You dip your bread in it and you fry, then 2 eggs, and then some home fried potatoes. And they charged $22 for that shit. $22 for that. So we have to get out the habit of trying to embarrass our people. Not saying that's what they're doing, but when I hear this, a lot of us do that. We want to embarrass. We have to start talking to one another and something, because it does have to change. And I also saw somebody put in the chat say, could it be that they're doing that because no one is coming through the door? I don't know. It could be. But sometimes, like I said, I'm talking from the industry that I know and how the businesses was treated in that industry, how you don't see them getting the credit. Everything is coming out of their pocket all the time. There's a lot of factors because everybody want to see us down, right? And sometimes it seems like we want to see us in that bad position. But we have to start talking to the people, man. We really have to start. If we talk to one another, I ain't saying you're going to be friends with every Black person. That's not what I'm saying. But if we begin to talk to one another, start to hold conversations. Because most of the time when you go to these smaller Black-owned restaurants, the owner is in there, right? The owner is in there. So we need to be able to hold these conversations so we can come to a medium, so the prices can go down a little bit, so we can fill up their place, so we can support one another, so we can start taking our neighborhood where we live back and turn it into a community. So yes, I do believe we can. I yield the mic.
This is good. And the reason why is because as much as some of us, let's get to the chat, and then it will lead to my response with Brother Bakari. In the chat, Trigger Happy says, but see, this is why it always goes back to the systemic analysis. A Black business was not meant to get off the ground when white people own the system and other groups get grants here in the United States. he's referring to. Trigger Happy also adds, other groups act as the buffer class and white people act as the primary drivers of the system. If black people have to go through all these hoops to procure wealth, they don't want us to get wealth. Trigger Happy also adds, doesn't mean we shouldn't attempt, but it also tells us that we have bigger hurdles. We have to be more strategic in getting wealth. It definitely isn't impossible, but our path is harder. This is okay. Now, how do I want to attack this? So I liked that Brother Bakari said, hey, there can be, let's just call it what it is. There can be a compromise on both sides. Hey, we can do this for that, and then the other side says we can do that for this. I mean, there almost has to be, just because the Cameroonian content creator said, hey, African restaurants aren't being frequented by the typical American because our prices. That's one thing, but then the other thing, I think it's really foreign, right? The African restaurant outside of Ethiopian, right? Most Americans, and I understand that we got listeners, viewers from around the world, but I'm in the United States, grew up in the United States. I've visited a lot of U.S. cities, north, south. The DMV I have yet to hit, but nonetheless, Ethiopian restaurants, most Americans are pretty familiar with that. And if they're not, it's a simple YouTube or TikTok search on how to eat it. It's common for the American to look at the typical African dish, depending on where exactly, and just not even be 100% sure on how to go about it, eat it. Yeah, just eat it, right? And so I say that to say, with the Cameroonian content creators saying that they're not frequenting, the price might be one thing, but it's that foreign, it's that niche, is what they call this in the social media content creation world. African restaurants are pretty niche. To say that, jollof rice is one thing. I've seen so many African American, Black American content creators do I'm having African food, come with me, I'm having African food for the first time. And they're picking a dish like egusi. I'm going to be honest with you. I know I'm from East Africa. I don't like egusi. I wouldn't pick that as my first thing. So why am I saying this? Is that African restaurants, they're not going to be this dream that we might have of like, oh, the non-African is going to frequent our business. That's not going to happen. African food is really, really niche, really niche. And then the other part is that with a full staff, I can kind of understand on why somebody wouldn't take it upon themselves to go and say, yeah, I'm not going to lower my prices and thus make my staff suffer. Now, again, then there's that conversation that Americans have in general, because the rest of the world doesn't really practice a tipping system. The rest of the world, you saw evidence of it during this World Cup. Many individuals took to social media and say, man, this tipping culture in the United States, where the World Cup was being where the World Cup had the United States as one of the three countries that were hosting, many visitors to the United States, expressed their disapproval and saying, this is out of control. And it is out of control. So as an African soul food Caribbean restaurant owner, do you now say, well, if I'm going to meet people that are complaining on TikTok halfway, then does my staff suffer? This is a multi-layered conversation, but maybe we can continue this. We got another panelist joining us. My gosh, let's go. We got Koku. Koku, first, welcome to Shoot the Breeze, episode 253 of the Better Medicine Podcast. How are you? And what say you? Are African restaurants too expensive?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Shout out to you for holding it down for like 2 hours almost, an hour and a half by yourself. I think that's a shame that you had to sit here by yourself and talk. But we'll talk about that more later. Shout out to Brother Bakari. Bakari, I hope everything is well with you also. This topic interests me a bit, and I'm gonna give a couple of quick thoughts. I live in New York City. In New York City, the Ethiopians, they don't open their restaurants. And if culture education is in the chat still, he can agree or disagree. I'd like to hear his thoughts. But Ethiopians don't open their restaurants where black people are. In fact, it's becoming a thing now where a lot of black restaurateurs want to be high end. I think Bakari touched on this a little bit earlier. That they want a certain level of clientele. So what they're doing now, and I was talking to Bakari about this a couple months ago, they're going downtown. They're going downtown to sell the little small plates at exorbitant prices, to sell watered down alcohol at exorbitant prices. And here's the issue. The issue I think most black folks have is, I don't mind you making money, but don't overdo it with me. Don't hit me a 3 times multiplier, right? I'll give an example close to home. There's a Trinidadian spot I go to close to where I live. And they have 2 different prices for everything. When you check why is it 2 different prices, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this before, if you go to pay with a credit card, because a credit card, the people who issue the credit card or process credit card payments, they apply a 2% fee. They make you, the customer, pay that fee to buy the food that you want from them. And I think that we got to understand there's something jarring about that. I once heard Oni say something on here before, and I thought about that for a long time. He said, you know, African people, black people, we have a history of bartering. Not just bartering, but we have a history of arguing over a price. You go to the market, someone wants to sell you 2 mangoes for $2. You say, okay, cool. I'll just be on my way. And they'll call you back and say, hold on, I'll give you them for $175, $150. You know, so we have that history, and that's kind of ingrained in us, to be honest. But, you know, the thing with oxtails, I don't know, oxtails are expensive in the grocery store. Let's talk about that. One of the problems is, and this is one of the problems with black folks in general, not being organized, is that organization actually drives down the cost. If you guys, let's say all the Trinidadian restaurants in Brooklyn, right, was to get together and say, we're going to rent out this or straight up buy this refrigerated storage place over here. Because this is what the Chinese do, by the way. This is why Chinese prices don't rise up with every different, you know, scare in the world. Oil goes up. The Chinese food doesn't just jump up like that, you know. But because we're not organized, we're not going together and saying, hey, man, let's get this refrigerated storage together so we all could have our goods and stuff here. We hire 2 people part-time or something, and they are to pack up the orders that each of our stores have. They are to, you know, keep the inventory so that we know when we're getting low, rotate things by date. We're not doing that stuff. I was telling Bakari a couple months ago, I've gone to some Caribbean like pizza shops, you know, Caribbean folks who said, okay, well, let me try a thing and, you know, make this pizza with back home type ingredients and stuff. And you would go in there and you would sit down for an hour and a half for some food. While you're sitting there, a person like me, especially who observes everything, I notice one of the guys comes out the back, walks to the corner store, buys some plates and some seasonings and comes back. Of course, your food, number one, is taking long to prepare. Number two, is expensive as hell. You can't buy this stuff retail, right? And then pass the cost off to the customers. That's not a model that's going to work long term. So it's really about getting organized. And I know Bakari, you know, doesn't like people being called out, but sometimes folks gotta get, even our folks sometimes have to get called out, man. Like, you guys know, you guys aren't in a bubble. I'm talking about the restaurateurs. You're not in a bubble. You know what I mean? You know that you're making it difficult for a person to come to you multiple times a week or what have you. You know, early when I started this talk, I talked about the Ethiopians in New York here. Ethiopians go closer to where white folks are. That's just a fact. I'm in all the hood. I'm all over this place where there's black people. They do not open up an Ethiopian spot next to where black folks are. They open up next to white folks because by the time white folks eat some food with some seasoning, they're ready to pay some money for that shit, right? But for us, and trust me, I used to be a big Ethiopian food fan. But when you go and you look at it, you're like, wait a minute, I'm eating lentils, I'm eating cabbage and potato, I'm eating, you know, whatever else, right? And it's costing me $40 for some vegetarian or vegan options with some teff flour. No, come on, it's too much. It's too much. So we really do, you know, I'll land my plane here. We really do need to organize and talk about what our people desire. Our people don't always want to go and have to spend $20 for a plate of food. Bakari mentioned it earlier. Here in Brooklyn, again, by this training spot that I go to, they have a $5 plate. Since the pandemic, I think it went up to $8 now, which is what I heard Bakari quote earlier down by him. So I think it's like an $8 plate now. That's reasonable. And anytime I go inside that training spot, there's people who definitely come in and order that $8 plate. So you got to talk to your people. It goes both ways. You got to talk to your people. You got to observe your people. You got to recognize that, you know what, our people really ain't trying to spend $20, $30, $40 for our plate of food. We got to do something. We got to do something like what the Spanish call tapas, small plates or whatever. We got to do something to get people in here. And then, you know, once we get a little $8 from them a couple times a week, every once in a while, they'll pay for that $20, $30 meal. You know what I mean? But it goes both ways. We have to be aware of each other and cognizant of it. Culture education, that's wild what you just said. You said in MD, it's $16 for a veg plate. That is not the case in New York. I'm telling you right now, it's twice that. When I go and I get the vegetarian platter, it is with the 5 items and some injera, it is 30. It is at least $32. You know what I mean? And I've seen those Ethiopian spots in Maryland. I've seen them in PG County and stuff like that. They're around black folks too. You know what I mean? Oh, and that reminds me one last thing. The other problem that black folks have is that we are renters. By the time you have to pay this man a rent, and he or she, this man or this woman, he or she can raise your rent all kind of crazy ways, you're going under. Another thing we have to start thinking about is we got to start owning some of these buildings that these stores, that these restaurants and stores are in. Because otherwise, along with the host of things that you and Bakari talked about earlier, and the host of things that Trigger mentioned in the chat, you're gonna get priced. You're gonna get priced in such a way you're gonna pass the buck off to the customer, and it's not gonna work out for you. So I'll land my plane there. Thanks.
Can I say something, Jack?
Please.
First, I want to tell Coco. He said sometimes we got to call him out. I ain't talking about people like you, Coco. It's okay. I'm talking about people that just want to try to embarrass black folk all the time. That's what I'm talking about. But anyway, you said something that was great, something that I've said before, and something we've talked about. I don't know if it was over the phone or doing a live. You know, It's like when he was saying of Trinity, yeah, the black restaurants need to come together, order together, right? Maybe if they order together, I don't know. Maybe they could get a credit. But we also need somewhere to store it. And like you say, have a couple of employees to keep stock, whatever. We have a couple of black truck drivers who's gonna do the delivering, where they got their own truck. So we're gonna lease out to this black truck and they're gonna take the food to the restaurant. And I think that would make sense, but that's what we need. That's what we need. We need a distribution center. We need a distribution center. Because when I look around here in Atlanta, I don't see the place that I said I work. I don't see none of those type of places. Soulful, US Food. Shit, that's another real big one here. Soulful ain't even real big. It's kind of, but man, I can't even think of the name of it. But I don't see any of them delivering to the Chinese restaurants. The Asians deliver to the Asian restaurants. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in our way, just like Trigger Happy said. But we have to start thinking and organize so we can get around that. Everything they do, there's an answer to it. And I know they're prepared for what we do. So since they're prepared for what we do, we need to be prepared for their next move. Because all of them want to keep us down. So they're going to all work together. Even with these Mexican restaurants or these Latino, now you're starting to see Venezuelans, Honduras. I don't know. Matter of fact, I did see a Colombian. I don't know if it was Afro-Colombian, but I saw a Colombian restaurant, a couple of Colombian restaurants the other day, even when it comes to them. Latinos have that distribution now. They have going one way from Atlanta up toward New York. Then you got Texas to California. And I'm telling you, it's a whole, where they are delivering to Mexicans more, because there are more Mexicans here, where they are delivering to all of the Latino spots. While we still depending on groups of people to do these things for us, and then we act like we're surprised when we are treated a certain way. We have to start thinking, we have to organize. We have to organize, then we have to strategize. And all this shit can change. And for people to, well, you know, it won't change in my lifetime. It's going to change in my lifetime. All this shit can change. The change starts in your mind. That's the first change right there. Whatever idea we have, it's in your head before you ever get the pen and put it on paper. Before you ever start working, the plan is in your mind. So we can change this shit in a couple of months. We can change this. We might have to get us a warehouse and have a makeshift. We might just have to put some small freezers in there until we can get the big refrigerated warehouse. We just have to do what we have to do until we can get the things, the bigger refrigerated warehouses where we can have our distribution center. Then before you know it, man, ain't no time. So look what the distribution center will bring. It's going to bring employees in there with the food. It's going to bring truck drivers. You understand what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of things if we just organize and strategize that one distribution center, just having distribution centers can do for us. How many of our people it can help and will help. Now I'm going to say this before I get off of here, before I get the mic. Culture, I forget. Oh, that was a great price for that either. Because I'm going to tell you, what you say you had for $30, Koku, was some injiri, that bread, right?
Yeah, injera and about 5 different vegetables. Yeah.
Yeah, it's according to where you go here in Atlanta. The first Ethiopian restaurant I went to, the plate that you named, that plate was about $40, $45. Then my son and his girlfriend, they took me to one for Father's Day, and it was much cheaper than the other one. And they were also in different areas too, though. The first one I went to that was expensive was over around the other folks. The one that the price was a little cheaper was around us, our neighborhood. But it was a nice restaurant, sit down and eat. But yeah, their food is sometimes here in Atlanta, from my experience, and there's another one, and the lady was showing me the prices. Showing me and my lady the prices. It was similar to the one my son and his girlfriend took me to. So but it was also in that same type of area, in a black area. So for me, from my experience here in Atlanta, where you go, where it's like what the prices of the Ethiopian restaurant. But yes, we do need to touch the Nigerians and tell them $20 for a plate of rice is just a little bit too much. You go get some jollof rice and you paying $20 for a plate of rice. Come on, man. Now that is expensive. That's really expensive. Now, Jack Adera, I got a bone to pick with you. That Egusi soup is off the chain. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know. The Egusi, the Efero, the spinach soup. I think it's a Efero. I don't know if I say it right. I just call it spinach soup.
I agree with that.
It's off the chain. I got a bone to pick. Now there's an African restaurant here called African Soul Food. Because I can say this, there's a lot of African Americans here that frequent African restaurants. But there's one called African Soul Food. They had food from like, what was it, between 12 and 15 different Black African nations is what they sell. The soul food, people like, well, but that's our thing. Yeah, but it called soul food. No, they didn't sell no African-American food, but they played African-American music. And they also was playing, other music from other cultures, Black cultures from South America and all that too. So they say it was blending it all together. Their prices were really, really good. I think when I ordered my food and I got me a side of jollof rice on the side, I think my jollof rice may have been like $6, $7. But it was not a small serving. So I didn't mind paying $6, $7 for that. Because it was extra woods on the side. I bought one on the side. But they have real good pricing for their food, and the food was really, really good. The restaurant I ain't gonna lie, the restaurant, it's a great atmosphere, man. You meet people from everywhere. And like I said, it's called African Soul Food, and they selling food from Kenya, Nigeria. They got Ethiopian food. They got Ghanaian food. They have every, and it's really good, but they have good pricing. On that, I'm gonna yield the mic, and I'm gonna step down, and I'm gonna continue to listen. Thank you for letting me speak. Jacadero, thank the chat for listening to me. And Koku, I'm glad you came up here, man. And I'm sorry it took so long for me to come, Jacadero, man. This weekend been a little long for me, man. My nephew got married, so family and stuff, friends and stuff. So, but I made sure I listened and joined in.
Appreciate that, Bakari.
Big congratulations to your nephew. Yeah. Big congratulations. Thanks, Bakari. Man, we had a lot. This is, I knew that at least this would create some conversation with this topic. Again, are Black restaurants expensive, especially or in relation to the United States? This is what we're talking about. Trigger Happy says, thinking about this conversation, if this issue can't be sorted, it's no way those of the business class could fund revolution too. Hopefully that's not the case, but I get what you're saying. Because our really wealthy Black people will never give a dime. I hope that's not the case, just because I don't know. I guess I look at it like this. You just never know. I used to hear rumors. I don't know if this is I don't know if this is true. Maybe some of you guys can contest if this is true. I used to hear a rumor. Now I'm glad. Hold on. When I say this, please take this with a grain of salt. I'm glad that he's passed away, so that way I'm not quote unquote dry snitching that the youngins say now. But I used to hear that Booker T. Washington funded the Mau Mau. Like he wrote letters to Dedan Kimathi. I used to hear this. So, and I've never gotten curious enough to verify and check to see if there's any truth to this. But so I say that to say, you know, the founder and president of Tuskegee Institute, which is now Tuskegee University, wealthy beyond means, right? But you know, if he in fact did that, there's a chance. There's a chance. And then I know, guys, the second example might not be the best example, but it's an example nonetheless. Culture Education says, oh, wow, I can see that, though. Listen, I got told this when I was like 14, 15, and then it was repeated again when I was I think I was just entering college. And yeah, it came up again. And I was like, hey, is that? But I never got curious enough to like go out and seek this. But yeah, I was once told that he used to write letters to Dedan Kimathi. Trigger says, oh, wow, I have to read up on Booker T. Is so slept on as a Pan-Africanist figure. He was definitely secretive, and it was definitely to be strategic. Again, it'd be awesome if I could even find a copy of these letters. So who knows what I'm able to do, man. I hope so. All right. For more on maybe this topic, we got a new panelist. Let's go ahead and introduce him. Anthony, welcome to the show. I hope everything is well. Hopefully you got them kids settled. And yeah, what's your thoughts on the last part of this topic about food prices and Black restaurants?
Oh, okay, man. First of all, peace to you, Jacadero, man. You know, how you doing, brother?
I'm in a great mood, man. As always,
Yeah.
I'm usually.
Yeah, man. I had to deal with these badass children, man. And you know what I'm saying? And I had to watch it because they get in trouble too much, you know. And so, you know, I couldn't get on the panel and then watch them at the same time because they bad as hell, man. They always doing shit. Yeah.
I get it. And then I'm sure that father whooping his daughter probably had you thinking those same thoughts, huh?
Hey, but look here. I want to say this here real quick. That like I put it in the chat, man, about this site called Integra, man. It's a site where you could locate black food vendors and distributors, like food and beverage distributors. You know what I'm saying? People, black people who distribute food and beverages to black restaurants. It's called Integra. And the other one is one called Erador. It's out of they're a distributor too. It's out of Chicago, man. It's out of Chicago. It's a black distribution company that delivers to black restaurants and things like that. Yeah. And as far I just wanted to address this real quick about the Booker T thing. Now we got to remember Booker T Washington died in 1915. You know what I'm saying, Jacadero? Okay. Booker T Washington died in 19. Let's talk about another Booker T. Yeah, Booker T Washington lost too. Yeah, Booker T Washington died in 1915. Dedan Kimathi was killed by the British in what? In the late 50s? Yeah. In the 50s? Yeah, so that couldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying?
The letters.
Dedan Kimathi wasn't even born until the 1930s, the late 20s or 30s.
The letters, no. That's probably why I never looked into it. But nonetheless, I heard rumors that he used to fund African uprising.
No, I mean, Booker T. Yes, he was a Pan-Africanist in his way, and he had contacts in Africa. And people that he dealt with in Africa, he did some things, that's probably a discussion for another day. But if you read this book by this sister, her name is Tyreen Wright, and she's an authority on Booker T. Washington. She wrote a book about him, about Booker T. Washington, the Pan-Africanist. and everything. And she writes a lot about that, man. Tyreen Wright, her sister Tyreen Wright. And she has a book about Booker T and his Pan-Africanism. So you can check that book out. It's a pretty good research, authority. And I watched several videos of her whole interviews of her talking about Booker T. But Booker T, Booker T had been long dead before, D-Dan's mother and father even thought about him. You know what I'm saying? So that's some fiction right there. But about those sites though, man. I caught the last scene which I was talking about, because I just went and took the children outside and mama just came to get them. You know what I'm saying? And so but that's an important thing, man. I don't want to hold up the program. Y'all can go ahead on, man. I'm listening.
All right, I appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and get into the last, this last Shoot the Breeze topic of the night. Once again, I'm Jack Cadero, proudly filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze episode 253, the Better Medicine Podcast. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Come on, what you doing? Huh? You wanna be like Booker T. Washington? Huh? Speaking of him, go ahead and do something revolutionary and hit the like button. So that way we're in the algorithm and like-minded individuals can catch the same thing. All right. Speaking of, right, the likes, we're talking about just individual Black peoples that are famous, maybe not necessarily supporting African rebellion groups, but just Black people in general, especially Black people from the United States. So when Black people from the United States go to Africa, it's highlighted, as it should be, right? Well, should it be highlighted or should it be kept a secret? Shoot the Breeze topic number 5, we talk about this and we ask the question,